Today's CBT session will involve just normal English breakfast tea in a mug I got for last Christmas that has my cats on it. And what I'm going to be working on today is something called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You may have heard of it. It's well, in terms of CBT, I guess what I'm going to do is use the hierarchy of needs to kind of ground myself, because often I get muddled in my head when I'm depressed and anxious and think everything's going wrong, nothing is right, when actually it's quite interesting to use the pyramid and see where you're at on it, because you might have things from the different levels, and obviously some things are missing, but then you can think, well, what do I need to work on first? So I did mention pyramid, but I didn't really explain it. So this is the pyramid. It's probably backwards for you. So you work your way from the bottom upwards, and it's got 5 stages in the hierarchy of needs. So the first one is physiological or biological. I've written notes for myself by the side as well, but those are just to remind me of what to talk about. Yeah, first stage is physiological. Then you've got safety needs, belonging needs, esteem needs, and right at the top is self-actualisation. So basically what I'm going to do is kind of explain each section and then run through what is right in each stage for me. I'm not going to say anything negative about it or anything that I'm missing, just what I've got from each stage. So the first stage is physiological, and that can also be described as biological needs. So I have air. I have clean air to breathe. There's plants outside. I can open my windows. Okay, I live in the middle of the city, but it is fresh air and I have air to breathe. That's great. I have food and drink, and I can afford food and drink as well. I'm not lacking, I'm not starving, and I'm not dehydrated. I have access to running water. There's a shop just downstairs. I can get food basically whenever I want. Awesome. Shelter. Obviously, I'm in my flat right now. I can afford shelter. I have shelter from the miserable elements outside this winter. There's rain, there's sleet, there's freezing cold temperatures, but I have shelter from that. And the next one is warmth. Now this has improved since my last video. My boiler wasn't working, so I didn't actually have heating or hot water in my flat. But I've kept on and on and on at my landlord, and now I am toasty warm in my flat, and I can afford gas and electricity to keep my heaters working and my boiler on. So I have warmth. I can't play right now, Baggins. He's brought his toy onto the bed to play with later after I've done my video. And sleep. Sleep is one I do struggle with, but thanks to new tablets, I am sleeping pretty well at the moment, and I also I'm getting better at taking like 1 hour naps or half-hour naps, like disco naps. But I generally do get enough sleep for the things I have to do during the day. So I'm going to put a massive big tick next to physiological, because I have all of those things. Okay? So yeah, those are the main things to think about when you think about your hierarchy of needs in the physiological sense. Air, food, drink, shelter, warmth, and sleep. You can also include sex in that, but I'm not going to talk about that because that's my private life. Okay, so the next level is safety. And safety can be protection from the elements. I feel safe in my flat. It's great. I feel really, really safe. Law and order. If something is going wrong or you feel unsafe, you can call the police. That was something I didn't used to have. I didn't feel safe in my own home, but I do now. Okay, so we have crime prevention. I have crime prevention in my life. Stability. I don't feel like I'm going to get kicked out of my flat anytime. So I have home stability in my home life. And I don't think I'm going to lose my job. So I have stability in my work life as well. And that's really important to remember. If you're on a temporary contract or something with work, that can affect your hierarchy of needs. That can affect this safety section. So if you feel stable in your work, that's a good thing. And freedom from fear as well. That's one I'm working on. But for the most part, I don't feel scared. I would say we can put a big tick next to safety on my hierarchy of needs as well. So we've got the first two. We've got physiological and we've got safety. The next stage is belonging, or it can be described as love. So this includes friendship, intimacy, affection, and love. And this is to do with work, family, friends, and your partner or partners. So friendship, I have a great deal of close friends. I saw some of them this week on my week off. So yeah, I'm pretty set for friendship. Intimacy and love, things are going great with Bryn. And I feel like that's great for belonging. I always have someone I can talk to about anything, and we have no secrets from each other. So, and affection as well. So that's to do with romance and friends, I guess. And in terms of family, during our week off, Bryn and I went to his hometown to see his parents. So we spent time with his family. And then we drove down to my hometown and saw my mum. So I feel close to my family. And I rang my dad because it was his birthday the other day and we had a long chat on the phone. So yeah, I feel close to my family. And in work as well. Although there are some issues in work because I'm one of the leaders. When you're a leader, not everyone is gonna like you or agree with you, which is fine. But I have a lot of people who stand by me. And I have a weird bit of hair here, which is going a bit mad. A lot of people who stand by me and agree with decisions that I make and kind of back me up on it. And I feel like I belong with my group of people in work. I don't feel like everybody hates me in work and, things like that. So I'm close with people in work as well. And I feel like I belong in work. So that's a big tick on the first three. We're doing really, really well. And I'm feeling a lot better because actually these are the things that you need in life. Notice that none of it is materialistic, really. Okay, you've got shelter, but honestly, that's a need, not a want. So in terms of needs, I'm doing really well. The next level is esteem. Now notice these are things which we don't always feel like we have, and they're things which we don't always work on, really. I feel like we work on the other ones first, which is good, because you should, but esteem is important. So under esteem, we have achievement, independence, status, respect from self, and respect from others. In terms of achievement, in my work life, I feel like I achieve a lot every single day. In home life, I'm getting there. I'm starting to do the things I enjoy again. And I feel like I can define achievement even as just not having a 0 day, as we used to call it, me and my friend Dan. Just not getting out of bed at all. On a 0 day, just getting out of bed, having a shower, brushing my teeth, and making a drink is an achievement. So I feel like I'm achieving at home and in work. And at home, I'm starting to exercise more. I'm keeping it clean. And that's an achievement for me at this point. Independence, I am fiercely independent. I live far away from family. I have a job. I look after myself. I pay for everything that I need. So I do have independence. I'm not governed by any people in my life. Status, I'm not so sure about. I don't think I can define that in my life at the moment. Self-respect, I'm getting there. Yeah. I feel like I don't need to feel as guilty as I do about certain things. And I've started to stand up for myself in that respect. And respect from others, the people who matter definitely respect me. So that's all I need. Not everyone is always going to respect you, and you need to deal with that. And I feel like I do. The people who don't respect me, I don't really care. They don't matter. Okay, so I'm going to tick esteem because I'm quite happy with that one. Now, the big one at the top of the pyramid, self-actualisation. Now, this can be defined as realising personal potential, self-fulfilment, seeking personal growth, and peak experiences. Now, this is actually something that I find really interesting because even when I'm at my most depressed, I feel like I should have complete self-actualization. And I think that's where I struggle, because I was trying to reach self-actualization when perhaps I didn't even have good warmth or sleep in my life, when I should have been dealing with that first. So that's something I've realised through studying the hierarchy of needs in CBT sessions, that you deal with things going up the pyramid. So I have ticked the bottom 4 and now I'm at the top. And this is when I can really begin to think about self-actualization. So I'm not there. I'm not at the top of the pyramid. I'm kind of at this step, maybe on the border here. So what do I think is my personal potential? I think I really want to write more. I have a couple of projects that I put on the back burner that I realise now I shouldn't have felt guilty about putting them on the back burner because it was the right thing to do whilst I dealt with everything else in terms of personal happiness and safety. So I think my personal potential is to get back on board with those projects because they were good for me. I really have a sense of self when I write because a little part of myself goes into everything that I write without me realising, and then I read it back and I think, yeah, that's a part of me in that writing. So that would go for personal growth. I find creating pieces of writing, and especially when I used to have them acted out, whether on stage or on screen or just voice acting, that gave me a real sense of self-fulfillment because it was something that I'd created and now it's being recorded. So it's being fulfilled, and then it's kind of like a legacy, I guess. It's going to be there forever. So I'd really like to get back into that, just kind of leaving things behind for people to enjoy. That's what art is, and that, I think, is my reason for being here. And with peak experiences, I think I'm there with peak experiences. With my happiness journal that I spoke about before, I write down the great things that happened each day, And that forces me to kind of think about the best of everything, and that, I think, is peak experience. So I feel like I can mini tick peak experiences, but not quite anything else. So I've got 4 ticks out of 5 on my hierarchy of needs, which is a big thumbs up from me. Maybe that this is something you would like to think about if you're feeling down. Where are you on the pyramid? You have to tick one before you move on to the next one. Otherwise, think about what it is that's missing and just work on that first of all. Don't worry about any of the other stuff. You need the stuff at the bottom first before you can move on up. Okay? So don't worry about intimacy before you've got enough food to eat. Because honestly, you need the food first more than the intimacy. Okay? So yeah, have a look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs and assess where you are. And it might help to kind of ground you and help you to prioritize things when you do struggle to prioritize things when you're depressed or you're anxious. Yeah, this video hasn't been perfect in terms of me trying to explain what the hierarchy is or where I'm at, but hopefully, even if it helps just one person other than myself, it's been worth it.